Hello all, Scott Adkins here. You're watching Talk and Review.
Come on in, don't be shy.
What's going on, guys? It's Nick at Talk and Review. So yes, we are going to be reviewing Avengement. This is a film that I've been waiting for a very long time, so I was very excited to see this film. And this one did not disappoint at all. So the plot is centred around the character Cain Burgess, who's played by Scott Adkins. And at the start of the film, you see him approaching his brother, who's played by Craig Fairbass, and he's asking him for some money so he can start up his own gym. So his brother then says to him, I want you to do a job for me. Cain does the job, but it goes totally tits up and he ends up in prison. So while Cain's in prison, he has lots of violent encounters and he finds out that his brother has set him up, and he has to then build this psychotic but cool character. Cain at some point in the film manages to escape the police and he ends up at a pub looking for his brother. This is where a lot of the story unfolds, and it involves Cain narrating his time in the prison and how he's become this character. The cast and crew, so how did they do with this film? I'm going to start off with director Jesse Johnson. So me personally, I love my martial arts films. I watch all of the straight to DVD films from Van Damme, Seagal, Scott Adkins. I watch them all. And what I found quite a few years ago was you started to see a big decline in these straight to DVD films in terms of quality, production, the acting, just everything was going a bit downhill. And a lot of it could be down to piracy as well. So what I found with Jesse as a director in the straight to DVD market, he's been a breath of fresh air, because there's been a lot of crappy films made, and Scott probably admittedly has been in a few of them, but yeah, Jesse's been a breath of fresh air in this genre, and each film they just get better and better. And I feel the combination of Scott Adkins, Jesse and writer Stu Smalls, they're just constantly evolving, and I'm really looking forward to what they bring in the future. And I think it really shows what type of a director Jesse is in terms of how he's able to bring something that's small budget but bring that type of quality into this type of film. Another shout out needs to go to Matthew Lawrence, who's the editor of this film. You need to appreciate the probably time constraints of these small productions, and I think he did an awesome job with the editing in this film. It's very hard to make flashbacks engaging. I've seen quite a few of these straight to DVD films and the flashbacks did not work at all, and the way he's done it in this film really kept you engaged with the story. There was one scene that I really enjoyed, and it's where Cain is discussing his time in the prison, and there's one where it interlinks with him talking in the pub. I think he's shouting about,
He's my fucking brother.
but it links with what he's saying in the prison and then links into the pub scene as well, and it looked awesome. So Scott Adkins, how was he in this film? I feel that this was by far his best performance in a film, and a lot of people give Scott a lot of slack for his acting, and I don't think that they've seen that progression from his very earlier films to where, yeah, potentially it could have been quite wooden, but he has got better and better with every single film. He's worked his arse off throughout each film, and for me, knowing what films he's been in and seeing that progression, this is by far his best acting. So what you have as well, it's not easy to showcase that nice guy that you've got and then lead him into that monster, that villain that Scott does with such ease. And I think that shows the capability that Scott's got as an actor to transform himself into a character. So you've got a lot of great actors in this film, and what I really liked about this is obviously you've got Craig Fairbass, you've got Nick Moran, you've got quite a lot of English popular people in this film, and they could easily phone in their acting and just do it for a payday, but you can really see that everyone is putting a really good effort in and trying to give a good quality performance, which really shows on the screen. So one of my favourite characters in the film was Tune, and he brought a very good humorous element to the film. So he's one of these boys who's a bit of a bullshitter and tries to make himself look hard, and him and Cain's character played off really well, and I loved it during the end sequence when they have a bit of interaction at the end during the fight. So the action and the fights in this film. So for me, the fights absolutely nailed the tone of the film. So they were very brutal, hard hitting. There was no flashy jump in the air aerial kicks. So you're not going to get some of the best fights that you've seen in some of Scott's previous films. So I think that's probably left for Undisputed films to show off the technical side of fights, but this film really hits hard in terms of brutality and making it look like there's lots of carnage going on the screen. So a lot of the fights are based in the prison and the pub. So in the prison there's lots of dirty fight scenes in there. So when he first gets into the prison, he comes up against, I think it's Mike Tyson's old sparring partner, and that leads to a scene which is probably a nod to American History X if you've seen that film. And this is where Cain is given the nice fancy silver teeth. So in the pub you're treated to a lot of brutal fighting with weapons. There's some gunplay in there, and Scott just absolutely destroying everyone in the pub in loads of different manners, and it's absolutely insane, and I loved every minute of it. So my overall thoughts, this was what I wanted from this film. It delivered, and I'd probably say it delivered a little bit more than I thought it would do. One thing that I've not mentioned is the music, and this is done by Sean Murray, and when the film starts, I think it's a violin that you hear playing, and you hear this throughout the film, and it just makes the film look a lot bigger than what it is, and that's just through the music. And there's a prison fight scene where this music is overplaying, and yeah, it really played well with the scene. Definitely go and support this film. Go and purchase the film, and it fully deserves all the great reviews that it's getting. Should there be a sequel? Yes. So I thought about it, and I think there's two ways that they could go with the sequel. So the first one, potentially they could go the sort of Scarface route, where Cain's probably building up his empire, that he's taking everyone out. But my second thought, which I think is the probably better route to go, is they could go the John Wick 3 route, of where he's on the run, everyone's after him, the police, all the gangsters in London, and then that's just room for Cain to fuck everyone up. So yeah, that would be an idea for me for a nice sequel to see. If you've watched this film, drop a comment down below. What did you think of Avengement? And do you feel this is Scott's best performance? Make sure that you hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit that notification bell. We've got some great reviews on the way, and we'll see you on the next video.